Research has found that Glasgow is the rodent capital of Scotland. Last year, the city's council dealt with more than 10,000 rodent infestations. That's up 31% from 2020. By comparison, Edinburgh City Council was called out just over 1,500 times. Fife also saw a big jump in rodents being reported in the years since COVID, but on a smaller scale. Well, STV's Caroline Lewis went out with Pest Solutions in Glasgow to see the impact rats are having on residential areas.
In the earth here you can see evidence of rats through their burrows, so they're all sort of tunnelling in under that tree and they'll be living under there. Rats carry a lot of diseases. Rats and mice carry a lot of diseases, but particularly rats carry Weil's disease in their urine, and really they're a major public health issue. So obviously with all the food that's available, the numbers will just keep increasing, the rat numbers will just keep increasing. As many burrows as this can be indicative of a drain issue, but obviously they'll be living in there and you've got lots of rubbish with open bins for them to feed on here. You can see my hand will just fit right in here, right into the cavity wall. So they'll likely gain access into this building and just be able to move throughout the entire
So they just
building.
Go through the cavities?
Yeah, go through the cavities, underneath the floors, up potentially want to start nesting in loft spaces and things like that. So yeah, maintaining the building is important, but also managing the environment, so the litter, the rubbish and things like that. But yeah, the amount of burrows that are here could be all underneath this section.
And Chris Mitchell from the GMB Union is in the studio. So, Chris, how much worse has the problem got over the last few years?
Absolutely horrendous. I warned the council about this 2 years ago, 3 years ago during the pandemic, when restaurants across the city were shutting down. Rats were looking for a source of food and they were heading into communities to get food and shelter. Steady increasing the frequency within cleansing, they were still making horrendous cuts. Even free weekly bin collection exasperated it. And I said it before, you can't cut your way out of a crisis, and this is now a public health crisis that we're facing within this city. But see, regardless, I've asked, Glasgow needs a bailout fast from the Scottish Government to try and combat this. The rats only scratch the surface, whether you're a refuse collector, whether you're a carer, a school cleaner, a school caterer. It's these low-paid workers that are carrying the can for this city. But this just shows you how important it is to heavily invest in this city. And the Scottish Government has got to bail Glasgow out before this public crisis gets any worse.
Yeah, I mean, the councils would say that their resources are very, very squeezed at the moment, and you know, they're doing everything they can. But just tell us about what kind of experiences your members are having then, the refuse collectors.
It used to be 2 or 3 a week, used to see a number of years ago, but I'm saying they're seeing them every single day now. 2 years ago, I actually done a story on it. 2 of my members were actually scratched and bit and actually ended up in hospital to get tetanus jags. I had a member in the Mary Hall Dorsometer depot who actually contracted leptospirosis, which is Weil's disease, rat urine. If that guy didn't go to the hospital, that guy potentially could have died.
And you know, how often do they, or you said how often they encounter the rats, but you know, do the rats run over their feet, or I mean, how much contact do they actually have?
We start at 7 o'clock in the morning, so during the winter it's pitch black. So any time you put a bin up, they just start flying everywhere. That's the only way to describe this. I know people have had them on their legs, their feet, had them on their shoulders, running everywhere, running into people's shops, running into people's clothes, into people's houses. And this is the problem we've got now. There's that many of them. And it's very difficult now to say to the councils, how do we combat this? How do we combat this? We need to invest cleansing, we need to invest in environmental health, and we need to invest in pest control. We can't afford to make any cuts because somebody's going to be seriously hurt here, whether it's one of my members or a member of the public.
Some might say that the strikes by your members across the country last year may have exacerbated this problem, and pest controllers said that period allowed rats to breed more freely because there was so much waste for them to eat.
Even before that happened, we had problems with rats, well before that had happened. These bin strikes last year just showed you how important the workers that I represent are. They're the fabric of society. So if the bin men or the guys that don't sweep the streets are not there, or women don't sweep the streets are not there, that shows you how bad it can get. But we've had 15 years of austerity cuts. So you can't just blame one strike. We've had years and years of austerity cuts. This didn't just happen yesterday. This has been years and years of neglect and decline.
Why is Glasgow so much, why is it the worst city in Scotland?
I think this is just the sheer size of it and the sheer nature of it and how many restaurants and pubs it's got. It's a fantastic city with great culture. And I just think some of the properties that we service, I think the Pest Control made a good point today that we do a lot of tenemental properties. 75% in Glasgow is made up of tenemental properties. So there is certainly more. But if there's more, then why are we not investing more? And that's why I'm clearly saying to the Scottish Government, Glasgow needs a bailout.
The New York have appointed a rat czar. Is that something you'd like to see happen? And how would that tackle the problem?
Exact same in New York. It's called the sanitation programme. A rat czar was brought in with a mayor. £3 million was given to tackle that. But they treat their workers with dignity and respect. What was happening in New York was it was destroying certain bits of New York's economy, the rats. They were chewing through absolutely everything. And to deal with this head on, they appointed the rat czar. And I think Glasgow should look at that as well, definitely.
Okay, well, Chris, you freaked me out a bit, but thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Now, in the 2015